Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between green hills and a quiet river, there lived a young man named Leo. Leo was like many others in his village. He worked hard, ate simple meals, and slept early. But unlike the others, Leo often felt a deep emptiness inside him, as if something important was missing from his life. He didn't know what it was, but he knew he wanted more. One evening, as Leo walked home from the fields, he noticed an old man sitting under a large oak tree. The man was reading a book, his fingers tracing the words slowly, his eyes filled with wonder. Leo had seen books before, but he had never held one. They were rare in his village, and few people cared for them. But something about the old man's expression made Leo curious. He approached the old man and asked, "What are you reading?" The old man looked up and smiled. "This," he said, holding up the book, "is a letter from a wise man who lived long ago. His name was Seneca. He wrote about life, about suffering, about how to find peace in a troubled world." Leo frowned. "How can words on a page help with real life?" The old man chuckled. "Ah, my boy, words are not just ink and paper. They are doors to other worlds, other minds. When you read, you step into the thoughts of someone who may have lived centuries ago, yet speaks to you as if they were sitting beside you now." Leo was doubtful, but the old man handed him the book. "Try it," he said. "Read just one page. If it does nothing for you, then walk away." Leo took the book hesitantly. The words were strange at first, but as he read, something inside him stirred. Seneca wrote about fear, about how men waste their days worrying over things they cannot control. He wrote about time, how precious it is, and how foolish it is to waste it. Leo had never thought about time this way before. He had always assumed there would be more of it. That night Leo could not sleep. The words of Seneca echoed in his mind. He realized how much of his life had been spent in thoughtless routine, how little he had questioned the world around him. The next morning he returned to the old man under the oak tree. "Do you have more books?" Leo asked. The old man smiled again. "Not many, but enough to start." And so began Leo's journey into reading. With each book, his world grew larger. He read stories of men who had faced great hardships and yet found meaning in their struggles. He read the thoughts of philosophers who questioned everything: justice, love, death, the nature of happiness. He discovered poetry that made his heart ache with beauty, and histories that showed him how much the past shaped the present. As the seasons passed, the people in the village began to notice a change in Leo. He spoke differently, not in grand or complicated ways, but with a quiet certainty. When troubles came, failed crops, sickness, disputes, he was the one who remained calm. He did not panic because he had read about suffering and knew it was part of life. He did not despair because he had learned from those who had endured worse. One day, a great storm flooded the river, destroying many homes. The villagers were afraid, angry, helpless. But Leo gathered them together and spoke. "We cannot stop the storm," he said, "but we can choose how we face it. We can rebuild. We can help each other." His words were simple, but they carried weight because they were not just his own. They were the wisdom of countless voices he had met in books. The villagers listened. They worked together, and slowly life returned to normal. But something had shifted. People began to ask Leo about the books he had read. They wanted to understand how words on a page could bring such strength. Leo smiled. "Reading," he said, "does not just fill your mind, it changes it. When you read, you are never alone. You carry the thoughts of the wisest, kindest, bravest people who ever lived. Their words become your armor against fear, your light in the dark." And so the village changed. Books, once rare, became treasures. People gathered in the evenings not just to eat and drink, but to share stories, to debate ideas, to learn. Leo, who had once felt empty, now felt full, not because his life was perfect, but because he understood it better. Years later, When Leo was old and gray, a young child approached him, just as he had once approached the old man under the oak tree. The child held a book and asked, "Will this really change my life?" Leo looked at the child and nodded. "If you let it," he said. And so the story continues. Because reading is not just about words, it is about the lives they change, the minds they open, the worlds they build. It is the quiet, steady force that shapes who we are and who we become. You too hold that power. In your hands, in your mind, in the choice to turn the page. So tell me, what will you read next?